Welcome everyone.
Audible. Wherein is it audible?
Yeah, it's audible, sir. It's audible. So people are joining. Good evening, everyone. Please wait for some more minutes. There are a few more people to join. I hope I am audible and visible. If you have come across with any technical troubles, you can comment in the box below. We will rectify that as soon as possible. So good evening, everyone. I hope all the participants who are attending this webinar is safe back home. So once again, welcome you all to this national webinar series on prospects and career opportunity in metallurgical and materials engineering, the way forward. So let me introduce, I am Marin Varki, Assistant Professor from Department of Department of Metallurgy, Amal Jyoti College. So we started this webinar series from July 2nd week. And today we are at the end of this national webinar series. And this is our last lecture series. And we almost completed 6 lectures, and this is our 7th lecture. And we thank each and every participants who have attended so far. And today we have our special guest all the way from South Korea. And we are exceedingly happy to invite Dr. Shivaprasad Murugan from Dongyu University. And today he will be discussing on the topic career prospects for the metallurgical engineers and graduates in the welding industry. So without any further delay, I request our head of the department, Dr. John Felix Kumar, to invite the speaker. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to you all. As head of the department, Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering, Amal Jyoti College of Engineering, Kanjirapalli, Kerala, I welcome you all again for the 7th webinar of National Webinar Series on prospects and career opportunities in metallurgical and materials engineering, the way forward. The National Webinar Series has been inaugurated with the blessings of Reverend Dr. Matthew Poika, our Reverend Father Manager, Amal Jyoti College of Engineering, on 11th July. And so far, 6 talks have been delivered from eminent scientists and professors from reputed institutions and organizations on a weekly basis. The increase in the number of enthusiastic participants of the completed webinars encourages us to move forward, and we thank you all for joining with us continuously in this learning process. In the webinar series today, we have Dr. Shivaprasad Murugan as a resource person with us. Dr. Shivaprasad Murugan is currently a postdoctoral researcher at the Center for Industrial Technology Development, Dongyu University, South Korea, currently focusing on projects like laser-based powder bed fusion additive manufacturing of 316L stainless steel, and also suppressing liquid zinc embrittlement cracking in zinc-coated advanced high-strength steel through grain boundary engineering. He completed his PhD in Advanced Materials and Industrial Management Engineering from the same university. Moreover, he has also worked as assistant professor in the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering in our institute, Amal Jyoti College of Engineering. I invite Dr. Shivaprasad Murugan to deliver the talk on career prospects for metallurgical engineering graduates in building industry. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. John, for the warm welcome. It is really a pleasure to be back again with Amal Jyoti family. It is indeed a great honor for me to give a presentation in the national webinar on the prospects and career opportunities in metallurgical and materials engineering, the way forward. This is also very special even for me because Amal Jyoti College of Engineering was my first employer, where I have worked as an assistant professor in the Department of Metallurgy in the year 2014 and 15, from where I have proceeded to my PhD. First of all, I would like to thank the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering, Amal Jyoti College of Engineering, and the college management for conducting such a webinar and inviting me to express my views in the same. Once again, I welcome all the participants to my presentation. I hope everyone can see my slides. So before I start, I would like to acknowledge some of the personalities who helped me in preparing this presentation. The first is Professor Park. He was my PhD supervisor, and he's a professor at the Department of Advanced Materials Engineering, Dong University. And he is also the CEO of WCW, which is a welding-based consultancy company based in South Korea. And Mr. Ruman, who is a research scholar at Tennessee Tech, and Mr. Dilip, who is a research scholar at the University of Waterloo. Actually, Dilip is an alumnus of Amarjyoti College of Engineering, who graduated in the year 2016 from the Department of Metallurgy and Materials Engineering. And I would like to thank Mr. Suraj, who is the area sales manager with Lincoln Electric India Private Limited, and Mr. Srikanth, a welding engineer with Gulf Petrochemical Services and Trading, and Mr. Vaishak, welding inspector, Mid-Gulf Construction Company, Qatar, for giving me inputs while I was preparing the presentation. Dr. John have already given my introduction, so I'll be skipping my background about my education and work history. So highlights of the presentation. Now this presentation was prepared by keeping in mind the school students who are interested in engineering studies, and undergrad students of metallurgy and materials engineering who are looking for higher studies and job opportunities. Even though the title highlights welding industry, higher studies and opportunities in academia also will be discussed along with the welding industry in this presentation. And I'm going to cover only the welding of metallic materials, because as you know, welding can be performed in non-metallic materials such as plastics and composites, but we are not going to discuss about the same topic. This is the contents of my presentation. I have divided the whole presentation into two parts. Part one is welding and its importance in manufacturing industry. And part two will be discussing about the career path in welding metallurgy, high studies, industry and academia. And finally, I'll summarize my presentation. We'll start part one, which is welding and its importance in manufacturing industry. So here, I'll be discussing about the importance of welding in manufacturing industry, and then the basic definitions of the key terminology such as welding, weldability, and welding metallurgy, and then about the different welding processes, and then the structural building blocks of welding technology, and finally the important part, the need of metallurgy in welding industry. So I will start part one, the importance of welding in manufacturing industry. So in order to explain the importance of welding in manufacturing industry, I think it is easy to explain with example. So here I'm taking an example of automobile industry. If you take the automobile industry, these are the four basic blocks of automobile body manufacturing. So for example, here we are making a car body with steel, and basically the steel sheets are used for making the car body, which will be coming from in steel industry. And in the steel industry, there will be a lot of processes like iron extraction, steel making, casting, rolling, heat treatment, and sometimes coating. After these various metallurgical processing, sheet steels will be coming to the industry. First, it will be fed to a press shop. So this is actually the structure of a car body. We can call it as a skeleton of a car. And let's see what is happening in press shop. So these car bodies consist of various components. For example, here you can see B pillar. So this is A pillar, this is B pillar, and this is C pillar. So in press shop, these components are made using a process called press forming, like this. So various components like A, B, C pillars and the roof, platform, and doors will be coming out of press shop after press forming process. And these components will be going to the body shop, in which these components will be assembled to an integral structure like this. So basically welding and joining are happening here. If you take this portion, magnify this portion, you will see a lot of yellow and green dots here. These are basically a location, represents the location of resistance port wells. In body shop, most of the automobile industry uses resistance port welding for assembling the body parts. So the components are entering the body shop as separate parts and leaving the body shop as an integral component, an assembled component. And the integral component will be sent to a paint shop. There it will be coated with primer, secondary and tertiary paintings. And then finally it will go to the assembly line where the remaining parts, non-metallic parts will be added and then will send to the next level. So I hope you understand the importance of welding in automobile industry. So which is acting as a addition between press shop and paint shop. So here we'll see the basic definitions of the various important terminologies like welding, weldability, and welding metallurgy. So we'll start with welding. So what is the definition of welding? What do you mean by welding? So simply we can say joining of two materials into one by using heat or pressure or both. But how we are joining two different materials into one? When the atoms of one material is situated very close enough to the atoms of another, then interatomic attraction develops between the atoms, and then the two materials become one. Let's see the same thing with the help of a schematic diagram. So here you can see in the x-axis cohesive force, which is nothing but the interatomic attraction force, and in x-axis you will see the separation between the atoms, which is the distance between the atoms. This region will have the maximum interatomic attraction between the atoms. If you keep two atoms with a distance of this, then these two atoms will have the maximum interatomic attractive force. Now let's consider the atoms of material A and material B. Let us assume that the atom of material A is situated here and B is located here. And if you see the distance between A and B, these are located far apart. That means there will not be any interatomic attraction between A and B. In order to have interatomic attraction, we need to bring B into this region so that it will have the maximum coercive force or maximum interatomic attraction force. But it is not easy to bring B into this close distance because there will be a lot of repulsive forces acting against the movement of B, such as the surface energy of material A or impurities on the surface of material A and some other surface irregularities. But in welding, we are providing heat or pressure or both so that we can overcome such repulsive forces and bring B into the close proximity of A so that there will be a strong interatomic attraction. So using this concept, we can easily define what is welding. So it is very clear. It is a process of bringing two atoms into the proximity and achieving high interatomic attraction and thereby joining the two materials into one by incorporating the use of heat or pressure or both. So I hope you understand the basic definition or the basic understanding of welding. Next is weldability. According to American Welding Society, the definition of weldability is the capacity of a material to be welded under fabrication conditions imposed into a specific suitable design structure and perform satisfactorily in the intended service. So simply we can define weldability as how easily we can weld a material and how well the material can perform its intended application after the welding. That is a simple definition of welding, I mean weldability. So in the manufacturing industry, we consider weldability as an important property of the material. So if you consider the job of a metallurgical engineer or researcher who are working in the welding metallurgy, he'll be always evaluating the welding metallurgy of materials, especially the new materials. And here you can see an example. So normally we say steel is having higher weldability than nickel, which is having higher than aluminum, and so on. And another terminology is welding metallurgy, which is considered as a subset of metallurgy, which studies the metallurgical phenomena during welding. Why welding metallurgy is important? Like why we cannot consider it as just physical metallurgy? Why there is no other heat treatment metallurgy or casting metallurgy, something like that? Because the welding is consisted of a lot of complex metallurgical phenomena, such as melting, solidification, diffusion, precipitation, etc. And these phenomena or these reactions are happening more rapidly during welding than any other processes like other manufacturing processes, casting or heat treatment. So this rapidness in these metallurgical phenomena makes welding unique and challenging. So we need to systematically study these phenomena by considering all the physical metallurgy principles. You can see the video shows arc welding, and from this it is very clear that how rapid the process is. Within 2 or 3 seconds, a lot of phenomena are happening. First is an arc is established, and the heat energy from the arc is melting the filler wire. So melting is happening here. So it is becoming like a molten bubble, in which is transferred to the existing molten pool, and which will be solidified here. So after the solidification, there may be some other phenomena like phase transformations. It can be diffusional phase transformations, or it can be diffusionless transformations. Now, welding processes. You will see a lot of different welding processes in different industries. Based on the industry, based on the material, we will have different types of welding processes. I'm not going deep into different processes because you will see one of the previous webinars conducted by Amarjyoti College. You will find the video in YouTube channel of Department of MME, the opportunities awaiting materials engineers in the welding sector and quality inspections by Professor Sherin Thambi. So if you're interested, you can visit that. There, Professor Sherin Thambi has explained all the types of welding processes. Next is the structure of welding technology. If you see the structure, you will see 3 major building blocks in welding technology. First one is the process, then metallurgy and design. Process is basically the optimization of the process, which I would say it is an interdisciplinary area in which mechanical engineers, metallurgical engineers, electrical engineers, or even electronic engineer can contribute to this area. So here, selection of processes based on the application and the material, and then process parameters will be optimized here. Then heat flow and fluid flow will be studied here. Electrical aspects, that means the welding power source and the welding machines, and the robotics, because these days most of the weldings are have become automatic weldings using robots. So we should have some experts in robotics also to make automated weldings. The second part is metallurgy. Here we are studying the response of materials during and after the welding, especially changes in mechanical properties, changes in corrosion properties, and changes in the structure. So we call it as microstructure in a microscopic level, and sometimes nanostructures, because sometimes we may need to go up to the atomic level to see uh, the structure of material after the welding. And another one is a cracking and other defect formation. Then the chemical inhomogeneity happening during the rapid solidification and phase transformation. I would say this part is exclusively for engineers and researchers with a very strong background in metallurgy. The next part is a design of welding. This is exclusive for mechanical engineers. Dimensions of the wells, number and locations of the wells, loading and stress distribution, residual stress and distribution will be analyzed in this part. So till now we have seen the importance of welding process in manufacturing industry, and the basic definitions of various terminologies and the welding processes. But here we are going to see the need of metallurgy in welding industry or welding related industry. I think the best way of explaining this is by picking some of the examples from various industries. So I will start with the first example, which is the welding of advanced high-strength steels in automobile industry. So here we are going to see what is advanced high-strength steels and what kind of welding is going on in our automobile industry, and what can be the challenges we face when we are dealing with this welding of advanced high-strength steels. I hope you all know what is the meaning of this this picture. It's global warming. I don't know whether any other picture can illustrate the danger of global warming than this picture. And the carbon dioxide emission from the automobile exhaust is one of the major reasons for global warming. So as a result, various government agencies have put very strict regulations on the fuel consumption and carbon dioxide emission. As a result, you will see the reduction in carbon dioxide emission as well as the fuel consumption in various countries. You will see Korea, Europe, Japan, India, and various countries. And some of the countries have put their future quantitative target as well. And how automobile industries are achieving this reduction or achieving this goal? So it is by lightweight technology. That means the automobile manufacturers are reducing the overall weight of the automobile. So if you see here, a reduction in 380 kilogram of the car body weight can resulted in a 40% reduction in carbon dioxide emission. So this is very effective strategy to control the fuel emission, I mean the carbon dioxide emission. So how they are achieving this weight reduction? By reducing the thickness of the steel sheets. So we have already seen that sheet materials are used in the car body manufacturing. So they are reducing the weight by reducing the thickness of the sheets. But there is a problem. We cannot simply reduce the thickness of the sheets. So this is called a crash test. This is used for evaluating the crashworthiness and the passenger safety while an automobile is met with an accident or crash. So here, a collision or an accident is simulated. So if you simply reduce the thickness of the sheets, then we cannot ensure the passenger safety. So this is another problem which is opposing the lightweight strategies. So there will be a lot of requirements before the automobile manufacturers. So one is reducing the weight by reducing the thickness of the sheet metal, but they have to they cannot compromise passenger safety. The property is the strength of the material. And another one is the easiness in making the shapes. So we have already seen the press forming process. So if the material has a property of high formability, then it will be easy to form into desired shapes. Now there is a problem. These two properties, strength and formability, are opposing each other. There will be a trade-off between strength and formability. We try to increase the strength, there will be an automatic reduction in the formability and vice versa. But anyway, we have to achieve all these requirements. So the steel researchers have came up with a new category of steels called advanced high-strength steels with high strength and high formability. So this chart shows various types of steels, in which the green represents the conventional steels, mild steel, low carbon steel, the interfacial free steels, and high strength low alloy steels. And from 2000 onwards, a new category of materials, these advanced high strength steels, are evolved, and these are some of the examples. This red color and blue color indicates those advanced high strength steels. So you will see in x-axis it is strength, tensile strength, and y-axis it is elongation, which is a measure of formability. So we can have a satisfactory level of formability and strength if you choose advanced high strength steels. So this is a background of advanced high strength steels, and this is developed with some of the improving the chemical composition and applying some of the special heat treatments. And now we need to weld the advanced high strength steels to make the automobile structure. In most of the automobile industry use resistance spot welding. So this is an automated resistance spot welding in an automobile industry. So you will see the electrodes are coming and making the welds. These are the electrodes and coming and making the spot welds like this. So now let's see the schematic of this same process. So these are the two steel sheets, and we have a water-cooled copper electrode. This is a water-cooled copper electrode, and electrode force or pressure will be applied so that this electrode holds the materials together, and then electric current is passed. And when current is passed through a resistor, we know based on the Joule heating principle, there will be heat generation. Using that heat generation, the steel sheet that interface will be melted and resolidified as weld nugget. So this is called a weld nugget. And if you make a large weld nugget, we can call it as a good weld. If the weld nugget is small, we call it as a poor weld. So this is the phenomena happening during resistance spot welding. Now let's see the magnified view of resistance spot weld. I mean this region, and this is the water-cooled electrode. These two, and these two are zinc-coated advanced high strength steels. Why we are applying zinc coating? Because we need to control the corrosion. That's why we are applying zinc coating. So let's see what is happening. This is a high-speed camera movie. So current is passed. So you will see the melting of coating. Here coating is melted. These portions coating is melted, and here steel has been melted. At the same time, if you see it carefully here, you will see a lot of crack formations. So here, 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 and after some times here also. So these electrode sheet interfaces are experience a lot of crack formation. So these are called cracks. and yeah, almost all the interfaces are having crack. And if after the welding, if you do the cross section of the same belt, we can see very large cracks. So these are the locations of the cracks, and we can see the cracks, and these cracks are not acceptable. You know the reason. Imagine that an automobile structure, automobile body has cracks before the crash, then you cannot ensure the passenger safety. So these cracks are not acceptable. We have to eliminate these cracks. But how to eliminate? If you want to eliminate, or if you want to solve some problem, you need to first identify the reason behind the problem. So we need to conduct a detailed metallurgical analysis to reveal all the metallurgical phenomena of cracking. If you know the mechanism of cracking, then we can avoid the cracking. So when we looked at this, we have found that these are caused by liquid metal embrittlement cracking, which is due to the liquid zinc. The liquid zinc is penetrating the steel sheet and making the cracks. So we need some engineers or researchers with a strong background of metallurgy in order to solve these problems. So that is the case of automobile industry. This is not the only problem we face in automobile industry. There are some others like some defect formation, like shrinkage cavity formation, or poor strength of some new grade materials, etc. So this is another example, the friction stir welding of aluminum alloys in space industry. So here you are looking at a dome of a cryogenic fuel tank using aluminum lithium alloy. So conventionally in rocket fuel tank, aluminum copper based alloys are used for making these domes. But recently this aluminum lithium alloy has started replacing these aluminum copper alloys because of its lightweightness or low density of aluminum lithium alloy. And you will see here different parts are welded together using friction stir welding, which is a solid state welding process. So this video shows friction stir welding process. An external tool is used to make the weld between these two materials. These two materials are welded together. After the welding, if you see the cross section, you will see a welding nugget formed at the interface between the two materials. So this is how friction stir welding process is working. And after the welding of this aluminum lithium alloy, if you look at the cross section, we call it as microsection, it has very fine structures inside the weld nugget, very fine structure. Even we cannot distinguish using this magnification image. So after welding, we can call it as a fine structured microstructure, which we call it as fine grains. Actually, fine grains are good for mechanical properties. If you have fine grains, then the mechanical properties such as strength and ductility will be high. But after the welding, normally they do some kind of heat treatment in order to relieve all the internal stresses happened during the friction stir welding. So after the welding, they have conducted to some heat treatments and see the internal structures have grown into huge grain sizes. So here we couldn't even distinguish between different grains, but see here the grains became large. In this case, it's huge. This is one grain, more than 1 millimeter size, and this is another grain. This is another grain. So this coarse grain structure are not good for not good for mechanical properties. It will end up with very poor strength and ductility. So we need to study the metallurgical phenomena of grain coarsening, and then only we can control the grain coarsening phenomena. Then we can achieve good mechanical properties. So here also we need someone with a strong knowledge of metallurgy. So another example is welding metallurgy in metal additive manufacturing, or we call it as metal 3D printing. Welding metallurgy and 3D printing. what is the relation between welding and 3D printing? If you look at, we have mainly two types of additive manufacturing processes, metal additive manufacturing processes. Number one is wire arc additive manufacturing, which is similar to arc welding. So an arc is used to melt the filler wire and which will be deposited into a final product like this. And another major type is laser-based powder bed fusion additive manufacturing, which is also known as selective laser melting. Here it is similar to laser beam welding, in which a laser beam will be scanned over a powder bed and it will be fused to make the final component. And now, yeah, this is similar to arc welding and this is similar to laser beam welding. So in both ways, both the processes are related. So if you look at the metallurgical phenomena happening in 3D printing or metal additive manufacturing, you will find a lot of similarities with welding process, such as rapid melting, rapid solidification, phase transformation, surface phenomena, fluid flow, heat flow, etc. So this knowledge in welding metallurgy can be utilized in metal additive manufacturing to improve the quality of the products. That is a third example. And similarly, you will find a lot of examples in almost all the manufacturing industry, like or aerospace, shipbuilding, boiler and pressure vessels, steel making, and etc. In all these industries, different materials are used. So different welding process should be used and different problems will be there. So in order to solve those problems, we need welding metallurgical engineers. So by this, we have covered the first part, welding and its importance in manufacturing industry. We have seen various types of welding and problems associated with welding and how the metallurgy graduates or metallurgical engineers can be useful in these industries. Part two is basically the career path in welding metallurgy, higher studies, industry and academia. So here, basically we are dealing with the opportunities. So mainly welding metallurgy in academia and welding metallurgy in industry will be discussed here. Welding metallurgy in academia means you can have the higher studies opportunities as well as job opportunities, because in academia you will find a lot of job positions, not only faculty or professor positions. You will find a lot of researcher positions. You will find research professor positions. So these welding metallurgy in academia will be covering those universities and institutes all around the world, and I will be dividing the whole world into 4 different regions: India, North America, Europe, and East Asia. And in industrial part, I will be discussing about, I will be mentioning about the industries in India, USA, Europe, and East Asia. And then finally, I would like to introduce some of the eminent Indian professors and researchers in the field of welding metallurgy. So first is the flowchart of career path, which can be useful for this metallurgical engineering students. If you complete your schooling, intermediate course with physics, chemistry, and mathematics, you can choose a bachelor's degree in metallurgical and materials engineering. Once you complete your bachelor's degree, then you can go for either high studies or core jobs, either in industry, private job or government job, or you can go for IT related jobs, or you can startups, because you can use the knowledge you acquire while you are doing the metallurgical engineering course. It can be used for starting your own business, because here I have seen a lot of students started their own companies by making 3D printing products, non-metallic 3D printing products. So you can, startups are also good options for graduate students. So if you want to choose high studies, In India, you can do either MTech or MS in material science and engineering, or industrial metallurgy or welding engineering, or some other courses will be there. So in India, most of the universities and institutes will be looking for either GATE score, or in Tamil Nadu, the universities will be looking for TANSET scores. And some places you need to give an interview for getting selected into the university. If you are trying for an abroad program, then you need some other test scores, like based on the university and the country you are applying, there will be a different test, like GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC. And then you may have a recommendation letter from a faculty member or a couple of faculty members, then a statement of purpose about your vision on your higher studies. And then you will be contacting the university or the professors by emails or directly with their websites. Once you complete your master's degree, then you have two options. Either you can go for PhD in India or abroad, or you can try for core jobs, industrial jobs or government jobs. If you want to get a PhD admission, again, based on the country and the university, or even based on the professor, the requirements will be different, but these are the common requirements: test scores, recommendation letter, and sometimes they'll be looking for scientific presentations in some conference or scientific publications. Once you complete your PhD, again, you have chances of core jobs. You have two options. One is core jobs in industry, private or government jobs, or you have an option of academic jobs like professors, researchers, etc. So from the next slides onwards, I'll be discussing about the welding metallurgy in academia in various institutes and universities in India. If you're looking for higher studies or a job in an academics, you can refer these universities. So I would say this is one of the best place for welding metallurgy research in India. IIT Madras, in metallurgical and materials engineering department, they have a group of faculties dedicated in the field of welding metallurgy. And after IIT Madras is IIC Bangalore in mechanical as well as metallurgical engineering department. They have welding related research. This is Professor Satish P. Kailas, who is working on friction stir welding and friction stir processing. And then IIT Roorkee. In IIT Roorkee, the Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering offering an MTech degree in welding engineering. So this Professor Divedi is working on welding and surface engineering related research. Another option is Homi Bhabha National Institute and in Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, you will see a few faculties like Dr. Sajuki Albert and Dr. Vasudevan, who are experts in welding metallurgy. And another option is NIT Trichy. And here also the metallurgical and materials engineering department is offering a degree, MTech degree in welding engineering. Once you complete your bachelor's in metallurgical or mechanical engineering, you can choose this degree. So various faculties, you can see various faculties who are working in the field of welding related research. So this list is not complete. You will find a lot of other institutes like IIT Kharagpur, IIT Bombay, IIT Guwahati, IIT Hyderabad, NIT Warangal, VIT Chennai, BITS Pilani, GC Salem, and many other institutes working exclusively on welding related research. Moving into the other region, North America, University of Waterloo in Canada is one of the university offering research in welding related research. So here, Center for Advanced Materials Joining, they are concentrating on various aspects of welding. So these three are the main faculty members who are working in the field of welding metallurgy. And another is University of Alberta in Canada, and there also they have a center called Canadian Center for Welding and Joining, and Professor Mendez is heading this center. They are also dealing with the welding metallurgy issues of steels and other materials. Yeah, and the Ohio State University in USA, they have a center called Manufacturing and Materials Joining Innovation Center. The headquarters is in Ohio State University, but it is a collaborative research center of Ohio State University, Tennessee, University of Tennessee, Lehigh University, Colorado School of Mines, and University of Waterloo. And they are mainly dealing with materials weldability, manufacturing and joining processes development, and additive manufacturing. So these are the important faculties dealing with these research topics. And next is Colorado School of Mines. There also they have a couple of centers dealing with welding related research. Number one is Advanced Steel Processing and Product Research Center, headed by Professor Spear. This center is not only for welding, they are dealing with all processings of steels. And another center is Center for Welding, Joining and Coating Research. So this list is also not complete. You will see a lot of other universities in North America, like Penn State University, University of Wisconsin, Madison, Tennessee Tech in USA, and McMaster University, University of Toronto in Canada. If you come to Europe and UK, so the first option is the Welding Institute in UK. They are dealing with almost all the aspects of welding, and the interesting thing is they have invented and developed the frictional welding process. Another option is Cranfield University in UK. They also have a center called Welding Engineering and Laser Processing Center. And RWTS Aachen University in Germany, they have an institute called ISF, Welding and Joining Institute, headed by Professor Reagan. They are dealing with the experimental and simulation works of welding and joining. And in TU Berlin, Germany, they have a Federal Institute for Materials Research and Testing. So they have a division called Welding Technology, headed by Professor Rettmeyer. So he's dealing with the welding metallurgy of various steels. And recently he started his research in additive manufacturing as well. So this is the TU Delft in Netherlands. They have a center called Joining and Additive Manufacturing, headed by Professor Hermans. So they are dealing with mainly welding and joining and additive manufacturing. So next is the Technical University Graz, Austria, and they have an institute for Institute of Materials Science, Joining and Forming, headed by Professor Somish. And there are some other universities as well in Europe, like KU Leuven in Belgium, EMPA, Swiss Federal Laboratories for Material Science and Technology in Switzerland, then Coventry University and University of Warwick in UK. And if you come to East Asian side, the main institute is Joining and Welding Research Institute in Osaka University. They have various departments for different aspects of welding. They're literally dealing with all the aspects of welding. Say it is, they have a department for civil engineering related to welding, a department of electrical engineering related to welding, metallurgical engineering related to welding, physics related to welding, and they are dealing with all sort of areas related to welding. And then Tohoku University, Interface Science and Engineering of Joining Center, headed by Professor Sato in the Department of Materials Processing. He's basically dealing with friction stir welding and the dissimilar welding of aluminum and steel. And Hainan University in South Korea. So he's a senior most professor dealing with welding research. His area of interest is welding metallurgy of steels. And you will have some other universities like Seoul National University, Pohang University of Science and Technology in Korea, then Nanyang Technological University, National University of Singapore in Singapore, then Shanghai Jiatong University, Harbin University of Science and Technology in China. So I think I covered almost all the important institutes and universities offering welding research by this slide, and I'm moving into the welding metallurgy in industry. So I'll start with India. So in India, you will see a few companies, a lot of companies dealing with the welding machines, consumables, and monitoring. Lincoln Electric India is one of the company. They are making the equipments and consumable as well. ISAB also same. And Fronius, they are making welding machines. Adore Welding, D&H, Baller, they are making welding consumables, and Kempi is making welding equipments. And Amarjyoti College of Engineering has a collaboration with the Kempi. They have a joint collaborative center at the college campus itself. Then automobile industries like Tata Motors, Mahindra, Maruti Suzuki, and Hyundai. Then power generation and oil and gas. So you will see a lot of different companies dealing with power generation, oil and gas, etc. And this is not a complete list. You will see the other areas like the steel making. In steel making, welding is an important part. And in USA, again, I start with the welding machine, consumable and monitoring. Lincoln, Hobart, Washington Alloys, these are dealing with the welding consumables. And Lincoln and Miller are dealing with the machines, and Series is dealing with the welding monitoring. And steel makers such as Tata Steel, World Auto Steel, and ArcelorMittal. And automobile industries like GM, Ford, and Chevrolet. And if you come to the European side, first you will see the welding machines, consumables, and monitoring, such as Fronius and ISAB. They are manufacturers of welding machines. ISAB is making the welding consumables as well. Matuschek and Hans and Wendt, these are German companies. They are dealing with the monitoring of welding. And automobiles such as Benz, BMW, and Audi. And steel makers such as Tata Steel, ArcelorMittal, and voestalpine. Then we come to the East Asian side. When I was searching for the companies in East Asia, I was found more companies in East Asia than in Europe and USA. I don't know whether it is a fact or not. So first, welding machines, consumables, and monitoring. Chosen Welding, they are making the welding consumables. So I have learned that they are one of the suppliers to the Cochin shipyard. And then Kiswell, they are also making welding consumables. Chowell, they are dealing with the welding monitoring. Kobelco is a sisterly company of Kobel Steels Japan. They are also dealing with the welding consumables. And Hyosung, they are dealing with the welding machines and monitoring. Then Hyundai Welding, they are also making the consumables. Automobile, we have Hyundai Motor Company, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Kia, this is Renault, Samsung. And steel makers, Bauer Steel, which is basically a Chinese company. POSCO, it's a Korean company. Nippon and JFE are Japanese companies. So having included the companies in Singapore or Malaysia or Middle East. If I try to include those companies, then this presentation will be a never-ending story. So I just collected the information of a few companies. And here I would like to introduce some of the eminent professors and researchers in the field of welding metallurgy who are basically Indian origin people. So you can see you can search them in internet and you can see their background, their educational background and work history, so that you can also design properly accordingly. So number one is Professor Badeshia. Sir Badeshia is a Tata Steel professor of metallurgy at the University of Cambridge. He is dealing with the steel metallurgy, welding metallurgy, and mathematical modeling of welding. And he's Dr. David. He's a retired corporate fellow of Oak Ridge National Laboratories. He's also dealing with welding metallurgy certification and phase transformation. And Professor Babu, who is he's a professor with the University of Tennessee. So he's working on computational material science, modeling of weld and additive manufacturing microstructures. Professor De Broglie, who is a professor at Penn State University, who is also dealing with the computational material processing in welding and additive manufacturing. And Dr. Shaju K. Albert, who is the director of Metallurgy and Materials Group, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, India. And then he's Dr. Tumruru, who is a senior welding consultant and retired research consultant at the United Steel Corporation. He's dealing with the resistance for welding of advanced section steels and welding metallurgy. And there are a lot of people. I couldn't list them all, so I just noted down some of them. Professor Rajiv Mishra with the University of North Texas, Dr. Baduri with Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Dr. Vasudevan, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, then Professor Satish V. Kailas with IISc Bangalore, Professor Amitav De, IIT Bombay, and Professor Surendra Madhya with Ecole Centrale de Nantes, France, and you will see many more if you see in the internet. So I'm coming to the summary of my presentation, and I don't know how to summarize this presentation into 1 or 2 slides. So, but I would like to make a couple of points. One is as our civilization progresses, we will face new requirements. In order to satisfy those requirements, we need new and special materials, which most of the times necessitate special welding techniques. So when we try to weld a new material or a special material or a high alloy material, there will be a lot of unique metallurgical challenges. So in order to overcome those challenges, we need welding metallurgical engineers and scientists with a very strong knowledge in welding metallurgy. So another one is like any other engineering streams, interdisciplinary collaboration is very important in metallurgical and materials engineering field also. So it is better to acquire interdisciplinary skills such as mathematical skills, programming, statistics, and data analysis skills, so that in either in industry or research field, you can have a lot of interdisciplinary collaborations. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can, feel free to ask now, and we'll have a discussion. I will try to answer your questions. And if you're not satisfied with my answers, you can message me via the WhatsApp or my email. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Now the participants can ask the questions. You can comment in the box below. If you have any questions, you can comment in the box. So there is a general question. Hello, sir. Can you give some techniques or tips for gate metallurgy for UG students?
Tips. Basically, I don't know. I think the basic subjects like physical metallurgy, metallurgical thermodynamics, and process metallurgy, and steel making. I think these are the major courses. So you need to have a thorough understanding about these subjects. Then you can easily crack gate. Other than that, I don't know. Thank you.
We have a question, sir. You have forgot ARCI. It's a comment.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's
ARCI.
why it's my list is not a complete list. If I try to enlist all the universities and institutes, it will be a big list. Yes, ARCI is one of the important center dealing with the welding, and I think they have additive manufacturing as well.
Sir, thank you very much for taking a innovative session, sir. Sir, I have one doubt regarding, presently the industry revolution 4 is going on, and presently a lot of building technologies which are getting automated. So, can you tell me which area a student can concentrate in the present study? In which welding area a student can concentrate and get a good exposure from your experience, from your research work and all?
Okay. Basically, if I talk about the welding metallurgy is quite similar for almost all the processes, whether it is arc welding or laser beam welding. Only difference is the heating rate and cooling rates are different. So you need to deal with high cooling rate in laser beam welding and low cooling rate in arc welding. But if you look into this problem as a process oriented issue, then I would say the advanced processes like the laser beam welding or electron beam welding. So these are kind of promising techniques, and it is getting a lot of exposure. The reason is not only in welding, but also in additive manufacturing, these two techniques are used a lot. For example, the laser-based powder bed fusion method, they are using laser. So the principle is quite similar. The main difference is in welding, you are using a bulk metal. In powder-based additive manufacturing, you are using powder. So you are melting a powder and making it as a bulk metal. But the basic metallurgical things are same. So in my opinion, laser-based process are more, it will give more chances than the conventional techniques.
Okay, so
I'm not forgetting about the wire arc additive manufacturing. That is also equally important. Thank you.
Okay, so we have an opinion question. Can you tell something about Indian Institute of Welding, IIW, and which course are offered by IIW?
You mean the certification courses?
It's not mentioned there, but it's a general
I think
question.
Certification courses. Actually, I don't know about much about the certification courses. IIW, I mean International Institute of Welding, is providing a lot of certifications.
Yeah, certificates course. Certification course.
And IIW is offering a lot of. Actually, I'm not an expert in commenting in these questions, but I will give my opinion. IIW, International Institute of Welding, is providing a lot of certifications, and the American Welding Society is also giving some certifications. And as far I know, the Welding Institute also in Britain, they are also providing a lot of certifications. So these certifications are very important to get the industrial jobs, especially the welding inspection, welding testing, quality control, and welding engineering jobs. So for these kind of jobs, these certifications are important. If you want to know further about this, if you please email me, I can give you some resources. I have a connection with some of the people related to these certifications and all.
So with that, I guess there is no further questions. So we
Yeah,
will
I
move
sure,
on to
Professor.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, Rakesh here. You have
Okay.
shared some of the images, right? Which I have two questions actually. Which of the what imaging tool you are using to take that micro level images?
Okay. I close my PPT. Something happened with my PPT. I will close it and I'll open it. Please wait a moment.
So okay. Meanwhile, I will ask my second question as well.
Okay.
Okay, so as my brother recently completed his +2, so he is going for the engineering. So we know we can't push anyone for any discipline. But
Yes.
if he wanted to go, if we want to go for a specialization in metallurgical or welding or etc, whether what will you recommend? Whether he wants to go for be mechanical engineering now, or directly he wants to go for some kind of specialization courses like this MME or something like that. What is your recommendation on that?
Okay. So mechanical engineering and metallurgical. You're asking about the engineering stream.
Yeah, BTech. Just completed the +2.
Okay. Both mechanical and metallurgical engineering both has a lot of opportunities. But I would say metallurgical engineering is I will recommend metallurgical engineering ahead of this mechanical because of there are a lot of requirements for metallurgical engineers, but the number of engineers are very less. But if you take the case of mechanical engineers, you will find a lot. And in India, especially in Kerala, I don't know why the institutes and universities do not have this metallurgical engineering streams, at least like IT or some other streams. If you go to the other countries like US or Europe or East Asia, you will find the name keep on changes. Previously it was metallurgical engineering, then they have changed it to metallurgy and materials engineering. Now they are calling it as advanced materials engineering. And you will see a lot of students enrolling to this advanced materials engineering or metallurgical engineering stream, and almost all the universities have the course metallurgical engineering course. But in Kerala, only in Amaljodi they are offering this metallurgical course. Yeah, but finally it is up to your relative whether he has to choose mechanical engineering or metallurgical engineering. And coming back to your first question, you mean this figure? Oh, can you see my screen?
So can you share it?
Oh yeah.
Can you share it?
Yes. You're asking about this figure? Hello?
Yeah, you have presented some few images, right? In that one, I
Yes.
saw. Like,
Okay. This one is just optical. These are optical images, and this is a high-speed camera movie image, and this is also optical. I haven't included any other images. I hope you.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Just wanted to confirm that whether it is optical images or electron beam.
Yeah.
Or
These are. I haven't used any. I think I haven't used any. Electron microscopic images. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Shiva Prasad.
Okay, I guess if anyone having a further queries, you can ask in the feedback form, or Shiva Prasad sir will be sharing his email. You can further ask any questions through email. And moving on, I invite Mr. Mevin T. Kurula, Assistant Professor, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Marin. Good evening, all. I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Dr. Shiva Prasad Murugan from Dongyu University, South Korea, for making excellent presentations and making this online seminar interesting and meaningful. The talk was very informative, and the way it was arranged was beautiful. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. I'm sure that the participants, the students doing graduation, and also those who are engineering aspirants are highly benefited from this session. On behalf of Department of MME, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Dr. Shivaprasad Murugan for accepting our invitation to take this session. Sorry. I also express my sincere gratitude to Father Manager and Principal for their wholehearted support for this program. Our heartfelt thanks to all the members for your active participation from July onwards during this COVID pandemic situation. It was highly encouraging to us, and we are expecting your continuous support in future also. I also want to thank Father Robin Thotupuram and Mr. Sebin Sebastian for making this event possible. Last but not least, I also want to thank our HOD, faculties, and non-teaching staff for their support and cooperation. Before we wind up today's session, I would like to share our department's YouTube page and Facebook page with you. I'll be sharing the details. This is our department YouTube page, and one second. And this is our department Facebook page. The videos of previous talks are available in our YouTube page as well as in our Facebook page. Those who have missed the previous talks, you can go through that and you can check the previous videos and all. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you.
On behalf of the participants, I want to extend a sincere thanks to Sir Shivaprasad sir, because you give an overall idea about the eminent personalities in this welding as well as metallurgy area. I sincerely want to thanks for this much informative things regarding welding. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now with that, I take this opportunity to especially appreciate all the participants' willingness to attend this session throughout the whole this webinar series, and thank you for this joint effort. And we'll ensure that we'll be keep posted about our progress in our Facebook as well as YouTube page, and hope to see you soon. And thank you everyone. Thank you once again. Thank you Shivaprasad sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.